summer season was in full swing on the island of Sodor. Lots of holidaymakers had come to enjoy warm days at the beach along the newly completed extension of the Little Western from Arlesborough to Harwick. One afternoon, Thomas was at Arlesborough West collecting ballast to take to his branch line. Nearby, Ryan was waiting for his trucks to be loaded with wool from Rex's goods train.
How are you adjusting to life on the Harwick Branchline, Ryan? Asked Thomas. It's a busy one, that's for certain, thought Ryan. But overall, I'm quite liking it here. That's good to hear, smiled Thomas.
But a few seconds later, his face fell into a frown.
Why the long face?
Asked Ryan, looking concerned for his friend.
Just thinking back to an incident that happened a few days ago,
sighed Thomas.
If you don't mind me asking, what happened?
Asked Ryan. Thomas took a deep breath and told him everything.
A few days after the opening of the Harwick Branchline, Sir Topman had sent me back to my branchline to resume my duties. One rainy evening, as I was bringing a goods train from Nafford Harbour to Farquhar, I saw Gordon waiting at Nafford Station to pick up passengers for his evening train. I whistled greeting to him, but I was not ready for the exchange that followed. What do you want now?
Huffed Gordon.
Gordon, listen to me. I'm sorry about what happened with the express cruisers. I said, sorry? That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say?
I asked.
Shut your mouth, you little blue rat. You're just lucky that they were empty when you derailed them out of complete and utter recklessness. I've had to have different coaches to pull in their steed because the workers found more damage to them than what we initially believed. And that was just a breaking point. I've been sick of your immature antics for quite some time now. But that incident sealed it for me. I honestly don't know why the Sir Topman thought it would be a good idea to bring you back here when you're clearly not fit to handle the work anymore. Doesn't help either that ever since you came back from the National Railway Museum, you have been flouncing around the island as if you were the only reason this railway still exists. Gordon shouted furiously. Now see here, Gordon. No! I don't want to hear any more of your excuses. And don't you dare try to sit there and deny it. The other agents, myself included, are getting sick and tired of how much enthusiasts and the media pay attention to you, while we get the short end of the shutters pull. Gordon harumphed, resulting in a glare from me. You know what? I told him it's funny you mentioned excuses or parading around feeling important, Gordon. I seem to recall an engine that would do something similar just because he felt he was too superior to handle specific jobs. That's different, the larger engine spluttered. How's it different? Need I remind you of the time you ran yourself into a ditch just because you didn't want to pull an important goods train? I questioned, getting angrier by the minute. I'm much too important for work like that, Thomas, Gordon shouted, red in the face. I am the Northwestern Railway's premier passenger engine, after all. Freight work is beneath me. Such work would be an absolute insult to my designer. That's why we have engines like Henry, James, Neville, or even Murdoch on the island. They are designed for freight work, not me. Either way, I helped you and you helped me. What happened to that alliance we formed after I fell on the mine and you were in disgrace? That was then, this is now, little Thomas,
sneered Gordon.
Consider that alliance dissolved after the accumulation of your childish antics that led to the derailment of those coaches. Now get out of my sight. I want nothing more to do with you. You're in this send a shot through my boiler. Gordon, I spluttered. Surely you don't mean that. Get out of here now, Thomas. Honestly, I wish you'd been scrapped along with the rest of your brothers and sisters, snapped Gordon. My glare turned into a heartbroken expression. I looked at the rails, then at Gordon, then back at the rails, and sat off with my train in tears. Gordon watched me leave, and had one final thing to say. Good riddance to bad rubbish, I say. Oh dear, Ryan puffed sadly. I'm so sorry that you had to endure that from my cousin, Thomas. I just wish there was a way to amend that broken alliance, Ryan, cried Thomas. Soon, the last of the ballast was loaded into the trucks, and Thomas jumped sadly back to his branch line. Ryan, on the the other hand, couldn't help but wonder if there was indeed a way to fix Thomas and Gordon's broken friendship.
The next day, Ryan had to fill in for Daisy's passenger run. The diesel's axles were making a strange grinding sound, resulting in the Fat Controller sending her to the works for repairs. While she was away, he had asked Stanley to help out with the goods work. After delivering the passengers to Knapford, Ryan decided to talk to the Fat Controller about Thomas and Gordon's situation.
Excuse me, sir, do you have a moment? Ryan asked. What seems to be the matter, Ryan? Asked Sir Topham Hatt. Ryan then told him about the feud between Thomas and Gordon, and how it had caused their alliance and their friendship to become broken. Oh dear, that's not good, he said after listening to the whole story. I will admit, I was under a lot of stress that day. I didn't get both sides of the story till after the fact. I had a lot on my plate, namely with trying to juggle running the rest of the railway and the construction of the Harwick Branchline. Is there anything that can be done for them though, sir? Asked Ryan. It was hard enough seeing Thomas upset during his time at the construction yard, but this takes the cake. At the moment, the only thing I can say is that we need to be supportive, sighed Sir Topham Hatt. Situations like these take time to fix. It's not exactly a one-and-done deal. I hope you're right, sir, sighed Ryan. I'd better get back to work. Please give my regards to Thomas next time you see him, sir. I will, Ryan. Take care now, replied Sir Topham Hatt.
Later that evening, Thomas sat in the sheds on his branch line, wondering if there really was a way to fix his friendship with Gordon. Percy and Toby had decided to talk to him about it.
How are you feeling, Thomas? Asked Percy. I'm just fine and dandy, replied Thomas. Are you sure about that? Quizzed Toby. I haven't seen you this lost in thought since the time we scared you with that ghost train prank. Of course, why would I be? Thomas answered, tension gradually starting to build in his voice. Percy and Toby exchanged worried glances at each other. Well, began Percy, it's just, we heard from Bertie about what happened with you and Gordon. We thought that... What? That I let that big blue blowhard's words get to my smoke box? Surely you jest, Percy, came the response, the tension becoming more noticeable. Thomas, if this is really bugging you so much, you can talk to us about it, Toby said, trying to be both sympathetic and patient. For the last time, I'm fine, Toby. Do you hear me? Just Jim cracking dandy here. Nothing to worry about. Got that? Thomas snapped. Now, wait a minute, Percy snapped in return. Toby and I came here to try and talk to you about the problem. We had nothing to do with the actual incident when it happened. We get that you're upset, but that's not an excuse to bite our funnels off for trying to help a friend. Even Toby began to lose his patience. Percy, save your breath, he said. It's not worth getting all riled up over. If Thomas doesn't want to hear us out, that's on him, not us. Thomas glared at the two engines. What exactly are you getting at? He asked. What we were trying to say before we got so rudely interrupted, continued Toby, is that sometimes situations like the one with you and Gordon will take time to heal. It may not happen when you think it should, but it will one way or another. Ha! What are the chances of that happening? Scoffed Thomas. Besides, it's not like I could expect a little green caterpillar in a garden shed on wheels to understand what I'm going through. Percy and Toby gasped at what the engine they thought was their friend had just said. If that's the way you feel about it, then we won't bother you anymore, said Percy grimly. As a matter of fact, why don't you go find somewhere else to sleep for a while? Added Toby. Fine, I will! Thomas huffed away in frustration.
After leaving his branch line, he decided to sleep in the old carriage sheds at Knapford that he and Emily had once shared after a hurricane had left a lot of damage on the island in its wake. As he backed into the shed, it was eerily quiet. All he had for company were sleeping trucks and coaches.
This place is just as good as any, he yawned. Those two don't understand what it's like to have an alliance broken with a harsh exchange of words. Soon, it dawned on him about what he had just said. Blistering boilers, he said to himself. I can't believe I let myself get that angry at them because of my fallout with Gordon. They were trying to help me and I spat it back into their faces. I need to find a way to fix this, but how?
Before long, Thomas drifted off to sleep, wondering to himself if there really would be a way to potentially make amends with not just Gordon, but Percy and Toby.
Little did he know, however, that chance would come sooner than expected.
But I mustn't say more, or I shall spoil the next story.